Hey guys, look at this masterpiece of a game that I'm playing right now. Look how immersive it is. I am so immersed right now. This game is definitely functioning the way it's supposed to. Welcome to the third and currently final, until Ninja Gaiden 4 comes out, installment of the series where I review every Ninja Gaiden game after playing them for the first time. And as you can tell from the title that you clicked on this video for, today I'm gonna be talking about Ninja Gaiden 3. Gonna give you my thoughts on the game, so let's just get into it. And just to let you know, this is the Razor's Edge version of the game and not the original, which I heard was an absolute complete disaster, so just keep that in mind. Let's get it. So let's start off with the story, as I still think it's the least important part of these games, although this game definitely put more of an emphasis on the story. Too bad it's freaking atrocious. This was literally one of the worst stories I have ever played in a video game. I believe this game came out in the era where developers tried to westernize their games so that they can get like a wider audience or something, you know, kind of like Capcom did it with DMC Devil May Cry, which came out the year after this game. But anyway, yeah, this story is an abomination. First of all, they completely character assassinated Ryu. Like, the man starts feeling bad about killing and stuff, even though that's all he does throughout the games. There's also this girl in there who he cares about like way too much. Like he's literally known her for a week. And don't get me wrong, I get caring for a child and stuff, but Ryu's acting like she's his daughter or something. Which, by the way, brings a 6-year-old into a military base. Okay, whatever, who cares? Oh, and do not get me started on the constant taking off the mask. Now listen, I'm no expert or anything, but I'm pretty sure the whole entire point of being a ninja is to keep your entire goddamn identity hidden. Like, come on, man. You have never taken that mask off in the first two games, and now he does it in every 30 seconds. Like, Jesus Christ. But okay, the actual plot. Ryu joins the military for some reason and goes to Paris to stop a group of terrorists that know about him or something, I don't know. And yes, you do fight terrorists in this game. And anyway, he gets to the leader of the group after strolling through Paris. And this guy's the main villain. I won't lie, he was pretty cool. And he like curses Ryu by like having him absorb the dragon sword, which like melts into his body and like infects his arm because the sword is cursed with blood of everyone that it's killed. It sounds really stupid, but okay. At least Ryu's arm looks badass. But yeah, because of this, Ryu is dying, which, by the way, the game likes to remind you about that fact a lot. In, I think, literally every mission in the game, Ryu is going to start feeling weak and force you to fight for your life, right? Showing that the curse is taking over or something. And then after that, to show that Ryu is dying, they force you into a slow walking section. I hate it. And this game does that a lot too. It sucks. I do not need a reminder that he is dying game. There's quite a big indicator of that on his arm. Anyway, we try to stop the guy as they try to like create godlike beings or something that look like this, by the way. And then this guy ends up betraying us, and then the daughter starts hating Ryu because the main villain is her father, who Ryu killed but he actually didn't. The daughter becomes big, father survives and becomes a good guy, and Ryu then fights the daughter in the worst final boss fight I have ever played in my entire life. Oh, and by the way Ryu gets rid of his curse is so bad. He does it by stabbing Theodore. And he says a spell, which just felt like it's a rushed way to do it because like the game was ending and we need Ryu to survive just in case we ever make a fourth game. It just felt like a rushed way to do it. So yeah, the story atrocious. But at least Murasama makes his cameo appearance. Hey, so why did you close down all your shops? You see, the developers decided to use a standard skill tree that you can access at any time instead of my shops. Oh, so how do you upgrade your weapons without me? I don't know, it just happens. But okay, time to talk about the most important part of the game now, the gameplay. And boy, there's a lot to talk about here. First of all, the difficulty. I am happy to say that I found it harder than Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Now, I don't think it was as hard as 1 Sigma, but there were moments where I did quit the game and came back later. Now, sometimes it was out of pure hatred of a boss, which I will talk about later, but overall I did like the difficulty. So let's start with the core gameplay itself, you know what I mean in a sec. But the combat itself is great. I don't think I liked it as much as I did Gaiden Black 2. Some enemy types were just infuriating, again I'll get to those later. But the combat itself though was really good. Ryu, as per usual, is hella decked out in this game. Each weapon has got plenty of tweaks from the last game. I do think I preferred how the weapons felt in Gaiden 2. I just thought the overall feel in 2 and the sound design was better. And speaking of weapons, it felt like there was less of them in this game than in the last one. In this game I was only able to use the wannabe dragon sword, the dual blades, lunar staff, wolverine claws, and the scythe, and the blade of the archfiend. 2 felt like it had way more than this, but then again I might have just not found them all, so I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Even if that is all the weapons, at least they included my personal favorite ones, being the claws and the scythe. Unfortunately, this game doesn't seem to include any new weapons, bar the fake ass dragon sword, which is literally just the dragon sword but with a different name. But hey, most of the weapons felt really good to use, plenty of different moves to choose from, a lot returning from the last games, and of course being able to Zuna drop using every weapon is still one of my favorite things to do in these games. And speaking of different moves, the game changes the way upgrades work too. Instead of having a pit stop at Murasama's shop, you can just access a skill tree at any time and buy upgrades using the karma you farm during fights. And I wasn't bothered by this change, it's just something I don't understand. I felt like the Murasama shops work perfectly fine. And yeah, you buy your weapon upgrades in there, your health upgrades, which you first need to collect golden scarabs before you can do that. And then there's also new stuff for Ryu himself. There's a move, for example, where Ryu can use his bow in the air for slow-mo, which consumes some of your ninpo bar, but slows the game down. Or one where you use your ninpo bar to heal. That move is completely useless, by the way, because of how slow it is. And it sucks because there's no healing items in this game, which is fair, I think, and I kinda like that because this game is like the perfect difficulty without them, and I think healing items would make it too easy. And yeah, Razor's Edge still feels really good to play, even though this version originally came out on the Wii U. But yeah, all the combos here feel really nice to pull off, and each weapon does feel really satisfying to use. Then of course you got your dismemberment, which is still a joy to pull off, works pretty much the same way as in 2. Beat up a guy till he loses a limb, press triangle to rip his head off or something. It is hella satisfying and so good to pull off. And just like in the last game, the enemies do get more dangerous when decapitated. They will try to blow you up with them if you do not manage to finish them off, and they will do a lot of damage to you. So you'd want to get that finisher in there real fast. Ranged attacks are basically the same as in 2, which is good. There's an upgrade where you can shoot 2 arrows at once. It's alright. But yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But they did change up the ninpo a bit. Instead of having stocks of ninpo, you have a bar, which does kind of limit your ninpo usage, and I feel like it takes too long to charge up. But I suppose it helps you if you want to lock in. You fill it up by fighting and then you throw out a ninpo. Easy enough. You pull it off, you get a heal too, which is way better than the actual healing ability you can buy, by the way. And they also added a new thing called Steel on Bone. It works kind of like a counter, I think, and if you pull it off, you can basically kill up to 3 dudes at the same time. It is badass. Or during combat, Ryu's hand will start aura farming. It'll light up and then you can perform a faster charge up attack. And then the health bar mechanic returns, where your health bar gets smaller the more you get hit. It works pretty much the same as in 2. If half my health bar is covered in red, or well, in this game's case it just disappears. If half my health bar is gone, I can only heal halfway, unless I reach a save point. And yeah, I still like this feature. So yeah, the combat itself is great. It is brought down by a few things like certain enemy design, but again, I'll get there later. But then they added a bunch of other gameplay stuff which just either full on sucked or were absolutely pointless. For instance, they added stealth into this game. You move your joystick slightly, Ryu goes invisible. You go beside a guy and you stealth kill them. Now first of all, how does Ryu go invisible is beyond me, and why doesn't he stay like that for the entire game, but whatever. And listen to this, it's actually so dumb. It is used once. The stealth mechanic is used once throughout the entire game. I am not joking. The tutorial is the only time ever stealth was used. After that, there is no more stealth sections. Like after a while, I thought, oh, okay, maybe they're not mandatory and just optional. No, it is not. Trust me, I checked. There's a section where you're going through a snowstorm and you get ambushed by a bunch of dudes. So I think to myself, okay, maybe this is where you can stealth an encounter. So I reload the checkpoint, start walking through the blizzard slowly to see if stealth mode activates, and no, I still get ambushed and thrown into a normal fight. So here's my question. What was the actual point of adding this? It is so useless. And maybe it is a blessing in disguise, I don't know, that I get to do actual combat instead of having half-baked stealth sections. But if for some reason you wanted to have stealth in your game, why would you include it in the tutorial only? Like take Metal Gear Rising for example. That game has stealth, it is never forced upon you, and the stealth in that game does suck, but you are never forced to do it. But it is there if you want to do it in certain fights. Here, the stealth sucks and was used only in the opening level. So I ask again, why even include it? Okay, whatever. Next, they added quick time events too. Why? The first two games didn't have them. Like, why are they here, man? Like, there's a bunch of encounters against planes, which already aren't good boss fights, and throughout these fights, you got these QTE sections that do the majority of the damage to the boss. Like, Ryu will jump at it, then you have to button mash to break a windshield or something. At that point, you could have just spared us the suffering of fighting the massive planes and just made them regular enemies, or get rid of them fully. Or if you really wanted to have QTEs in your boss fight, just go the Metal Gear Rising way and only put them at the end of the boss fight. I'm starting to notice a pattern here. Oh, and by the way, I kid you not, half of them do not have prompts. Instead, you just get a slow-mo and you have to guess between pressing jump, attack, or dodge. It's so stupid. Like, there were times that I thought I was just watching a cutscene and a QTE section comes up and I don't even realize it because I don't get a button prompt and I just die because I fail it. Like, if you're gonna have them, don't make me guess or be oblivious to them. The only good thing that comes out of them is that certain combat encounters kick off by gliding and you can glide into a guy and kill them instantly. I say this as you actually control the glider, you really do not. And then this one just might be me, but all these forced slow walking sections that you do, I hate them. I get that they're meant to be there for the purpose of the story, but at least for me, they ruin the pace of the game and have no right to be in a character action game. Like, there's a whole section of the game where I have to walk around the Hayabusa village. I'm not allowed to run or anything. It's so stupid. I hated it. Like, if you're gonna have these, at least let me skip them. I bet these get really annoying on a replay. Now, apparently, they cut a lot of the story stuff like cuties and slow walking sections from OG Gaiden 3 when making Razor's Edge, but there was still way too much of them for my liking. So yeah, those are my complaints. Overall, the gameplay is really good, the combat itself is great, the steel on bone mechanic is sick, maybe a tad OP, but it's awesome, so who cares. No healing items, at least for me, actually balance out the game difficulty, but it is brought down by certain enemies. We'll talk about that in just a sec. The Ninpo bar, in my opinion, takes too long to fill up. I prefer the stocks, and the weapon selection felt like there wasn't as much in Gaiden 2. But I didn't mind that too much either because they included my favorite weapons. So yeah. Apart from that, the combat slaps. The stealth sucked and was utterly pointless. Seriously. Once in the game. I am so baffled by that. I did not like the QTEs, and forced walking sections made me want to blow my brains out. I'm already dreading those when I get to our replay. But okay, next up I want to talk about the enemy design. Oh dear god, the enemies. Let's start off with a few good ones. Obviously, there's your cannon fodder dudes like the small fiends or your ninjas with swords, claws, guns, etc. And I suppose in this game's case, terrorists. And speaking of, fiends definitely get sidelined in this game. They're still here, but for some reason I'm fighting terrorists. But whatever, that doesn't matter to me as long as they're fun to fight. And yeah, the basic enemies are pretty fun. There's a good variety of enemies to fight, but by god, some of them are just not fun at all. First of all, yeah, I'm gonna talk about some of the ones I like. So yeah, the basic enemies, the RPG guys I didn't mind this time around. There was way less of them than in 2, which I was glad for. A lot of them stayed out of range, so I just had to use the bow to take them out, but they were pretty good here. And in smaller groups too. Jetpack flamethrower dudes were pretty cool. The flame got annoying sometimes, but other than that, I quite liked them. Or these guys who die very easily but turn into monsters. They were tough, but they were fair. I liked them. But oh my god. So much of these enemies are just so unfun. You got choppers, which by the way, you gotta kill them the Devil May Cry 2 way. If you know, you know. Like, at least in Ninja Gaiden 1, it was just one boss fight. No, reoccurring enemy here. Vehicle enemies make a return. Yay. There isn't much of them, but still. Or these guys who are in these big groups I just really hate. It's so annoying to deal with. They just gang up on you, and it feels like their attack when they're decapitated is way stronger than any other enemy in the game. That one might just be me, but it was still very annoying, and I feel like the only good way to deal with them was with the lunar staff. Again, that might be a skill issue, but still, I hated those guys. And they were also used in the final boss fight, which just made it worse. Or these dudes that are literally invisible. And don't get me wrong, they are weak as piss. So it got pretty annoying getting hit by seemingly nothing while attacking another guy just to aim your bow at an invisible dude. Or these Minecraft block summoning dudes, man, who the best way to kill them is by spamming charge up attacks because they will just block everything else otherwise. There's probably better ways to kill them, but I didn't learn them, and I just did not like these guys at all. Oh, and guess what? They get used as a boss fight too, by the way, during Ayane's level. So yeah, enemy design is a pretty mixed bag for me. I like some of them, but some I just utterly dislike. And speaking of boss fights, this game has those. I did not enjoy the majority of the boss fights. Okay, so let's talk about the boss fights I did enjoy first. Okay, so let's talk about the boss fights that I didn't enjoy. Okay, but for real, there was a few I did like. I enjoyed the Regent of the Mask, or Theodore, and that's probably a good thing that I liked him, since you have to fight him like 5 times. I liked him a lot. He feels like the Virgil of this game, very well telegraphed. You wait for him to do his moves and then you try to punish him. I very much enjoyed this guy. I also really liked the mirror match fight where you fight yourself. That one pissed me off, but that's because it was hard, not because I didn't like it. I thought that the fight was awesome. The first phase was easy enough, attack and counter, but the second phase he was able to switch between weapons and stuff. So what I did was I waited for him to do specific attacks and then I used a charge attack to deal a ton of damage. These fights were really good, but man, this game is filled with some lame boss fights. First of all, there's just random machines that you fight, and what you have to do is smack them until you break their components, and that was annoying because you're constantly getting bombarded by missiles and bullets. Do that a few times and then land the killing blow. Oh, there's airplanes too, which guess what? You can only use your bow on them. Do a quick time event, repeat a few times. Boom, boss over. Or yeah, they do make you fight 3 alchemists as a boss fight with Ayane. Already expressed my hatred towards these guys. Or this thing, which I kid you not, the bosses literally kill enemies, hit big red weak point. You also fight a dinosaur. You cannot make this up. This fight would have been fine, but it felt like the dino's health was way too big and it just made the fight unnecessarily long and annoying. Or this like, I don't know what they are called, but they can like change their arms into 3 different forms and they do different things, but like that was just annoying. The big arms especially, I felt like I could only land a few hits after a few attacks. Like I felt like I just did not get a chance to do anything. Oh, and also the game makes you fight 3 of them as Ayane. Oh, and let's not forget that the final boss fight in this game might just be the single worst boss fight that I have ever played in a video game. You remember those enemies that I talked about that are in big crowds and are very annoying? Yeah, this boss is throwing them at you constantly with you having to avoid the actual boss's attacks. It's so damn annoying. You have to kill these small guys to build up the ninpo to kill the boss. I hated it, especially because the ninpo bar you have to fill up was massive and it took so long. So yeah, did not like the bosses. And the last thing I want to talk about is the level design. And I already kind of touched on this, I suppose, with a bunch of the gameplay elements that I mentioned, like the forced walking, stealth, QTEs and stuff, which I didn't like. But like even apart from those, first of all, graphically wise, the game looks really nice. I know this game came out in 2012, but even so, it does look nice. But okay, apart from those things that I just mentioned, what did I think of the level? Well, first of all, the environments look nice. You got cities, forests, slabs, the Hayabusa village, a snow biome, caves, the shield helicarrier, and yeah, I don't think they're as good as Ninja Gaiden 2. I really did prefer Tokyo and stuff in that game, but I did overall like the places you play in this game. Or actually, there is a level that is basically a reference to the first 2 games, where you're in a simulation fighting on the airship from Ninja Gaiden 1 and then in Tokyo from 2, which was pretty neat. This game is once again more of a linear experience than Ninja Gaiden 1, just like Ninja Gaiden 2. You cannot really backtrack to a place that you were in like level 3 when you're on level 7, because you're in a completely different location. And the game definitely focuses on the combat more than the puzzle stuff, which I am completely fine with, just like in Gaiden 2. And the levels themselves, I enjoyed. Mostly. The QTEs and walking sections bring them down for me a good bit, like I mentioned already. Or I didn't really like certain segments of missions, such as this part where you have to carry the little girl across the room. Why is this in this game? Or I really wasn't that big of a fan of the level where you're running around a bunch of battleships destroying turrets. But yeah, other than that stuff, I did mostly enjoy the levels. There was one where you're fighting alongside Momiji, which I thought was cool. Ayane's levels I thought were pretty cool too. They completely took out swimming from this game, and all I can say to that is, thank you! The platforming is about the same as in the last 2 games, except this one added this weird climbing mechanic where you have to mash L1 and R1 to climb up. And I don't really get why they didn't just let me run up walls normally, cause this felt kind of pointless and they use it a lot too. And it also felt kind of clunky to do sometimes. It even got me killed a few times, because apparently I wasn't pressing the buttons even though I was. And I don't know, it was weird. And you know, it probably doesn't help that they picked the 2 most unmashable buttons on the controller to use this mechanic for. But yeah, the level design wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. And yeah, those were my thoughts on Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. The story was god-awful. The core gameplay though was insanely fun. Stealth was literally useless. Used once in the... Okay, I'm sorry I keep bringing this up. I just can't help myself. It's so stupid. Did not like the QTEs and walking sections. The enemy design I was mixed on. Some I did enjoy fighting, some I didn't. The boss fights were mostly bad. I liked 2 of them. But the level design was mostly good, with a few things I didn't like, or a few levels or parts of levels that I didn't enjoy. So, overall, did I enjoy myself? Yeah, I did. Does this game have issues? Yes! Oh god, yes it does. It is ranked on the bottom of my Ninja Gaiden games ranking, with 2 Black being my favorite. But yeah, I still thought 3 was fun. Lots of stuff I really didn't like, but I did enjoy myself overall. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Adios.